AEW Wrestledream. Let's talk about it.
I feel they delivered.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical AEW pay-per-views. They're all really good wrestling shows. I never really have a lot of complaints with that. Without even getting to my notes yet, I can't help but say, like, the things that stick out were like Darby Allin and Moxley, and the crazy match that they had. And also, like, Samoa Joe turning heel. That was also big. But go ahead.
Well, I think the women really stood out on that show also. I mean, you're talking about Toni Storm and Chris Statlander delivering on everything that was promised in this first-time one-on-one match.
One of the things that kicked off, like, the pre-show, they had FTR versus Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight, Jet Speed. And it was interesting. They went from the pre-show to the pay-per-view. And I thought, that's kind of cool in the sense that should happen more often once in a while, because there's no reason to think like matches can't bleed into the show.
But they did scare the hell out of the wrestlers with the pyro.
JB Hayter beat Tekla. Good matchup. I don't think anything really to report here.
Good matchup. They beat the living hell out of each other. That was a hell of a matchup, with Tekla really coming across strong in the match, even in the loss. And quite frankly, Jamie Hayter keeping her power and really looking fantastic.
You liked it more than I did. That's fair. Jurassic Express defeated the Young Bucks. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. Good victory for Jurassic Express. Good to see them back on track. Randy Oscar, did you guys have a problem watching the show on Amazon Prime? Didn't watch it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, no problems whatsoever. We didn't watch it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. The Hurt Syndicate defeated the Demand. I thought this was fun and entertaining. Cool to see, MVP out here wrestling again. Shelton Benjamin, I just think, always comes off looking like a star here, too. Bobby Lashley is a star and should probably wrestle for the world title at some point. I like the fact that this sets up a great trios feud that we're possibly going to see later. Kyle Fletcher defeats Mark Briscoe. These two got great chemistry together. Mark Briscoe kind of reminds me of a modern-day Mick Foley sometimes, with the bang-bang elbow and everything. I just love it.
The right person went over. MJF is your future star. Mark Briscoe is a current very good wrestler who is a star also. I think they went in the right direction with it, giving some heat back to Kyle Fletcher. Sorry, not MJF. Giving some of the heat back to him and allowing him to be the present star that he is.
Chris Statlander defeated Timeless Toni Storm. You already said this was your favorite match tonight, huh?
It was. I thought they really delivered on it. I think that Toni Storm is so good in her character right now, and they've done a great job of adapting Chris Statlander out of her past. She was starting to get a little blurry in other aspects. Was she just the best friend of this wrestler? Was she in a feud with this wrestler? And they've really focused in on who she is as a wrestler now, and they're doing a great job.
Mercedes Moné comes out to take a little bit of Statlander's hype, and then she ends up basically challenging. Mercedes Moné comes out and basically has an open challenge. Mina Shakakara.
It was a little bit different than open challenge, because it ended up being for both belts.
Right, but that was the idea. She wanted to fight somebody that she could win a title from.
Yeah, normally an open challenge is technically a chance for an up-and-coming star to come in and have a shot at a title that they wouldn't normally have a shot at. You actually had the Ring of Honor interim champion. If that's not the biggest belt you could go for. Interim TV champion. If that's not a giant belt that you can go for, my goodness.
Mercedes continued to collect belts. She's even collected more since then.
When's she going to defend the Owen Hart belt?
How's she going to lose all these belts eventually? That's what I want to know. How does that work?
Ultimo Dragon's coming for her.
Bandito and Brody King. Brodito defeat Okada and Takeshita. That was a great match. I almost kind of hoped that Takeshita and Okada was going to win, and then we'd see them fight a little bit afterwards. But I liked the match.
I enjoyed the spot with what looked like Okada was flipping off the opponent, and then managed to actually be flipping off Takeshita, and Takeshita taking the middle finger from him. And I thought it was very entertaining.
Does Tony and Mina win the tag titles? That's actually not a bad idea. That could be a direction we go in. Hangman Page defeated Samoa Joe. The big story here is afterwards, Joe goes heel, and so does the whole group. The Ops, Shibata, Will Hobbs. Let's make sure we're all going to beat that ass. And I got to tell you, I like the match, but I like the ending even more.
So this, to me, now we have multiple groups that are just ass-kicking heels. Literally, we have the Ops, the Death Riders. We've got what the hell does Ricochet call his group there?
The Demand?
Yeah, the Demand. You now have literally the Hurt Syndicate, which I guess are technically baby faces, but you have multiple giant men factions that just kick ass. What happens when they all run into each other?
And getting back to this comment, do they win the trios titles on Wednesday? Or speaking of the Hurt Syndicate, I think being that the Ops just turned heel, I wouldn't just expect them to drop the titles just yet. That being said, this is a team I would expect them to eventually drop the titles to. So I'm kind of curious what they end up doing. I think this might be a rare situation where we get some kind of schmaz or something, but we'll see.
How do you feel about MVP working more? I think that the way they've built MVP, to me, they've built him as the older guy. And as we know, he's not actually that much older than them.
Yeah. He's kind of like the player coach, like he's a coach kind of for them. But yeah, you're right, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, I love MVP. He's a legit badass. And but he ain't coached Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley on shit.
Oh, absolutely not.
Unless it's personality and charisma, then he probably is the most charismatic out of the group.
Oh, he's definitely the most charismatic of the group, with obviously Shelton being very close behind him.
Main event, Darby Allin in the main event versus Jon Moxley. I quit match. Moxley beat the shit out of Darby. I guess it was interesting because they had the Missouri commission there, and Missouri is one of the states that actually has a commission. And Matt Cardona said before he wasn't allowed to hit somebody with his title in Missouri. So they got around things. They did a lot of stuff. Well, Darby got drowned for a little bit, waterboarded maybe. I don't know what, but a lot of violence in the end. We saw old man Sting come out and he looked great. I'm calling him Old Man Sting because he looked old, but he also looked really cool. He was the way he broke the aquarium with the bat and, drove everybody away and then gave the bat to Darby. And then Darby, of course, used the Scorpion Deathlock in the end to get the submission win. I like the story.
I like the white hair look. I think he looks almost like back in the day, one of the old Kung Fu characters or a Monchichi, if you remember those, if you're old enough to remember those. By the way, I wanted to mention something from the match before this. Bobby Lashley is 1 month older than I am. That's fucked up. I mean, 1 month younger than I am. Sorry.
To answer Randy's question, does Darby Allin get a title shot soon? I don't know about soon because you got Joe potentially getting another title shot. MJF can be around. But yeah, I mean, eventually, I think at this point, AEW will have to put the title on Darby Allin at some point, I think, because he is Mr. AEW. He literally put the AEW flag on Mount Everest. This guy's the heart and soul. What I love is that Sting has become so entwined in this guy's story. Sting has retired, but Sting, this hero, this old Cape Crusader, old Batman, basically comes out once in a while and makes sure that everything is even and fair.
And here's the thing. Sting is keeping his word. He said he would never wrestle again.
Yeah.
He is not wrestling matches. He's not coming back to do a match. He's coming back to stick up for a friend and a protege. So I think it makes sense, and I enjoyed the main event. It was my second favorite match of the night.